guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back at it here at Porsche Clearwater, and guess what? I have that one 911 that Porsche claims is the purest driving experience out of all the different trims of a 911. What vehicle is it? It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2024 Porsche 911 T. But before we get into this lightweight Carrera, let's talk about what's going on here. So we all know when you hear 911, we're not talking about the freaking fire department. We're not talking about an emergency. We're talking about that iconic sports car from this German brand known as the Porsche 911. Now, believe it or not, today, there is something like 25 different trims of the Porsche 911. Just the 911. I'm not talking about options. I'm talking about trims. Where the Carrera T lines up is right at the starting point. So let me tell you why this car exists. When you buy a Porsche 911, just a base Carrera, you cannot get a manual transmission. It comes with that 8-speed PDK. Great transmission, just not the most engaging driving experience. So where the Carrera T comes into play is that this is essentially a base Carrera with some extra goodies, including that 7-speed manual transmission, and this is one of the lightest Porsches that you can currently buy. Now, what's fascinating is that this particular one has quite a few options, and that's one of the things. When people buy a Porsche, on average, most Porsche buyers, whether it's a 911, a 718 Cayman or Boxster, a Cayenne, a Macan, a Taycan, usually around $40,000 in extra options are added. So what I want to find out is if you're looking for that true driver's 911, is it really the Carrera T, the one you should go with? Let's go ahead, let's dive into ours and find out. Right off the bat, the shape. Such an iconic style that truly has evolved over the years, and this particular color is that perfect Porsche color. It's known as GT Silver Metallic. Now what's fascinating is if you go back to the original sports car racing days, especially in the 40s and 50s, you would have your car painted based off of the international racing color. So when you think Ferrari, we think red. That's because red is the Italian racing color. When you think German, you should think silver, because that is why you look at most, especially the early Porsche race cars, they're all silver, and this color commemorates that. Now at the front of the business, you're gonna see our updated headlights with the daytime running lamps, projector beam headlight. Love the way everything is pretty much blacked out on the interior, just a little bit of silver trim. Working our way down, we have our turn signals LED, and then of course you have full functionality. You can see the heat exchangers from behind. Remember, all Porsche 911s except the GT3, the GT3 Touring, and the GT3 RS. All of them, except for the ones I just mentioned, are turbocharged in some way, shape, or form. This being the base engine, the turbos are really small. You step up to a 911 Turbo S, the turbos are much bigger for more horsepower. But I do like the flat black, full functional. You'll notice how you have this lower lip air dam / splitter. And then as we come across the front, love that great style. Now, one of the things I gotta zonk is the fake vent in the center. Depending on what model 911 you get, some of them are functional, some of them are not. This one is not, but it does have the optional forward-facing camera, and you'll notice that flat black splitter. It's just a clean, timeless design. If you don't know that this is a Porsche by looking at it, I don't know, I think you might have to get your eyes checked out. Now, as we rise up, we got that Porsche crest nicely sunk in there, the clean lines of a 911, and then as we come around the bend, what are we working with wheel and tire setup? These are not the Carrera T standard wheels. These are optional RS wheels. So meant to mimic the wheels off an RS Spider. They do have that nice argent gray metallic hue to them. And you have 20-inch wheels up front, 21-inch wheels out back. Like I said, this is one of the many options that this vehicle has. Now, one of the things you'll see are the 6-piston Brembo calipers. And of course, we're gonna have fully cross-drilled rotors to give us some nice braking capability. On top of that, you're gonna see the specially tuned suspension for the Carrera T. So there's a lot of special touches. 20-inch wheel up front, tires are 245 on the width and a 35 series sidewall. Let's go down the side. You'll notice the argent gray. This is specific to the Carrera T. We have the 360-degree optional cameras. Up top, another option we have is that panoramic sunroof. Something that I personally wouldn't do, but this one, like I said, has the option if you want it. The problem with adding a sunroof is that it adds weight up top, which raises your center of gravity. This vehicle is all about that purest form of driving experience. And if you really want to have the purest form, you need to have the center of gravity as low as possible. But it's there, which is, hey, it's your money. You get to choose the way you want it. We do have our flush mounted door handles. This is in the extended fashion so that you can open up the door panel. And then coming towards the rear, blacked out around the window frame openings. Of course, you're gonna have that classic shape from every angle on this car. When we look out back, like I said, 21-inch wheels in diameter. So we have a larger wheel, more rubber to meet the road. So you got 305 on the width on these Pirelli P0s, and we do have an electronic limited slip diff out back. Now, as we swing it around, that clean look. I mean, you have, of course, where your air is going to come off the rear glass. This is venting, functional venting for that flat 6 twin turbocharged engine. It's a rear engine car because the engine sits past the rear wheels. And then you'll see all that great LED lighting. It extends all the way across. It's got the argent gray color on the Porsche script. And then you'll notice how we have the Porsche Sport exhaust. Black tip, nice oval opening. Whenever you see the black tips, that usually means 99.9999999% of the time that that's the Sport exhaust. And then you have a little bit of silver along the bottom. Well, why don't we go ahead, let's see if we could pop this area. And remember, before I forget, this does have that active spoiler that does raise and lower at speed. So that will help you get some extra downforce. But why don't we go ahead, let's open this rear engine hatch up and see what the heck we can find. All right, guys, we got the engine hatch open, and it makes me chuckle because unfortunately on modern Porsches, you can't see much of the engine. What you're gonna find is, of course, the 3-liter badge, because this is a 3-liter flat 6 twin turbo, and you got your dual cooling fans with the honeycomb wire mesh, and of course your areas to put coolant and fuel. But what is at the back end of this 911 Carrera T? You're looking at 379 horsepower, 331 pound-feet of torque, mated to the 7-speed manual. You can also get the PDK if you choose. It's an option. 0 to 60 in about 3.9 seconds, quarter mile in 12 seconds flat at 118 miles an hour, and top speed around 181 miles an hour. The kicker is this car weighs around 3,200 pounds. MPGs, 17 in the city, 25 on the highway. And that's the thing. It's like this car is not meant to go to Cars and Coffee and brag when it comes to bench racing and talking about high horsepower numbers. Go get yourself a 911 Turbo S. It's got well over 600 horsepower. This is about how it makes you feel on the inside. It gets you all giddy. It makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up when you find that perfect road like Angeles Crest Highway out in California, and you just rip through that manual transmission like a hot knife through butter. But why don't we go ahead, before I get any more poetic than I already am and romanticizing the act of driving a sports car like this, let's go ahead, let's fire it up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we are inside this 911 Carrera T. The key to this is this guy right here, that manual transmission. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, the hell with it. I've always wanted a Porsche. I remember when my grandpappy was laying in the hospital and was unfortunately about to pass away from the cancer that riddled his body. He said, grandson, get yourself a Porsche one day. Don't make the mistake that I did by not getting one. So I know you're probably saying to yourself, how much is this one? MSRP asking price is $148,000 because, like I said, there are quite a few options in here besides the ones that are outside, like those wheels. Let's see what you get when you go with this Carrera T. To the door panels. Clean style, little bit of silver, everything is nicely blacked out. You have that leather cladding on the armrest. You got a small Twinkie pocket there, easily put 6 Twinkies, and we have the Bose sound system. Going from the door panel to the dash, same thing, the soft touch material. This one has the optional GT silver brought into the interior. And then as you come in, up top we have the Sport Chrono package with the red facing clock. So that's another thing that's an option, is bringing in the different colors. 10.25-inch infotainment system screen. We've already showed you this a bazillion times. You got your Sport Chrono setup you could put in here for when you go to do your track day, maybe your favorite twisty road. You get all the different drive modes, make that sport exhaust sing, and I love the way it swings the car around. Look at that. Boop. I could even raise the spoiler and cruise around the mall parking lot like I'm a freaking 24-hour Le Mans winner. Let me throw it in reverse. Backup camera, nice resolution, 360 cam, which is great. And then we're right back where we started. Working our way down, you got toggle switches for the sport exhaust, your PASM, adjustable suspension. We got dual climate with the same toggle switches. My one zonk is the gloss black here. I wish they would put something else. But what I do love is this guy right here. This is that 7-speed manual transmission. Nice, crisp engagement, short throws. This is where you're gonna make the magic happen. I promise you, each and every day. You got a little bit of a 911 badge right there. This is the controls for your sunroof, right behind the 911 badge. Ventilated seats, 3 stages. 3 stages of heated seats. Cup holder, but you're not drinking in my 911. A little bit more GT silver. Open it up. You got a place for a cell phone, 2 USB-Cs, and some, I would say some Tootsie Rolls. And then the seats. These are the 18-way adjustable seats, which is an option. All leather, nice bolstering. There's your controls for the passenger and the driver, of course. And then this one does have the rear seat added. You normally get the Carrera T rear seat delete to save weight, but I'm gonna go ahead and move the seat so that you can see in the back the rear seats. If you're about the size of an Ewok or one of those munchkins from Wizard of Oz, you'll probably be able to fit back there. Other than that, I would just get the rear seat delete. And of course, if we have the red face gauges, if I can get my hand around this, there we go. The red seat belt's worth an extra 5 horsepower, and it's an option. But why don't you go over here to the business end? I want to show you behind this GT steering wheel in this Carrera. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Love the black aluminum sill plate with the 911 Carrera T script. Down in the pedal box, we got it. Triple pedal setup, aluminum clutch, brake, and throttle. You could do your heel toe downshifting like a freaking Le Mans champion, or you could have an automatic rev match downshift for you. You do have a good sized dead pedal, and there are optional aluminum pedals that you could actually get. There's our seat controls. I counted every which way. 18-way adjustable. I wanted to make sure we didn't get cheated 1 or 2 ways. And you do have 3 memory seat settings for the driver's seat, which is great. Steering wheel, that GT spec wheel with the leather. You got your drive mode selector knob right on the wheel. Thumb controls. I love the way they hollow out the spokes. It is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And just like every 911 since the first one, you have your ignition on the left of the steering wheel, not the right. And then of course we got that beautiful tack, red line, 7,500 RPM, and that's the optional bright red facing tack. I'm not gonna show you under the frunk. It's a trunk up front. Use your imagination. What I do wanna do, I wanna go on throttle in this 911T. All right, guys, we're leaving Porsche Clearwater. We're in this 2024 911 Carrera T with the manual transmission. Now remember, this is not the same transmission from the mighty GT3. So just something to think about, not the same transmission. That's a 6-speed, totally different gearbox. It's not just one gear less, it's a totally different gearbox. It is better than the 7-speed, but this 7-speed is a very, very close second. Now, right away behind the wheel, you have a great view out the front, out the back, plus you have the perfect amount of horsepower. There's no need to think that you gotta have a Turbo S to enjoy the 911 experience, because with this car, it just does everything so well, and it's so fine-tuned. They took a lot of the sound deadening material out to give you more of that sound coming in, and you're gonna notice it. I'll tell you that right now. You're gonna notice that this is actually louder than a regular Carrera. But we're gonna go on throttle. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Yeah! Look at this. That sound of that flat 6, it is absolutely amazing. I have it in Sport Plus mode. Remember, you have normal, Sport, Sport Plus, and individual. So you do have plenty of different modes. I have it in Sport Plus. Just the sound of that flat 6. They just got it right in this car. They just got it right. Love the automatic rev match downshifting, but you can turn that off if you want to. Brakes feel superb. Look at this. It holds a line very well. Clutch action is light. It's got a good pickup point to it, which is nice. And it just allows you to be able to modulate very well, especially from a dead stop. It is very easy to drive, especially if you are new to the manual transmission family. I want to welcome you if you are, but just let it be known is that it's not like an on-off switch. It's got good pickup, and it's not like all or none, and it's not heavy. It's not a heavy clutch, which is great. But you got awesome visibility in this car. It just feels so good. It feels so good. The seats, 18-way adjustable, get it to line up perfectly to your body. And it's interesting how they have quite a bit of bolstering, especially up top. Not as much down low, but there's still plenty there that it keeps you held under those hard lateral G-force moments when you're going down your favorite twisty road. But that sport exhaust, it's got some pops, it's got some bangs. This really is, I know a lot of people call the GTS, the 911 GTS, the Goldilocks of the 911. This really also brings that same perfect balance magic that Porsche is just known for. But you could daily drive this without a problem, but then when you want to turn up the wick, you easily can. Let's go into the brakes here. Look at this. Round and around and around we go. On throttle, here we go. So smooth. And that's another thing, is that the flat 6, because the engine sits very low in the chassis, it has a great center of gravity, very low center of gravity, which is just, you feel it when you're behind the wheel of this thing. God, the sound, the way this 7-speed, it's a hot knife through butter. I'm telling you right now, it is a hot knife through butter, hands down, without a doubt in my mind. But are you ready? We're gonna go on throttle. On throttle, here we go, second gear. On the brakes. Look at this. Really, really smooth, really controlled. Just a nice balanced setup. Feels fantastic. But getting to the infotainment system is well within reach. The way that all of the inputs, everything that you want, the AC controls, your heated seats, your ventilated seats, everything is so well laid out in here. And you just feel the build quality. I mean, it's rock solid in here. But the transmission. And this is the thing, a lot of cars are getting rid of the manuals. Just nice to have one, and it's a good manual. It's not like a watered down manual, like they make you want to get the 6-speed and only the 6-speed. The 7-speed is still a great transmission. You ready? On throttle, here we go. It just does things to me. These 911s just do something to me inside, and as it should, because this car, like I say, a lot of times you want that car that moves your soul, and this car really stirs and moves my soul, that's for sure. You ready? One more time. On throttle, here we go. So stable under braking. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah! Oh, I could do this all day long. I want to do it all day long, but obviously Porsche Clearwater wants their 911 T back. So we're gonna go ahead and get back to Porsche Clearwater and wrap this one up. So I will see you in a nanosecond. Hey guys, what can I say? Anytime I get behind the wheel of a Porsche, especially a 911, it just transforms me into this special place. It takes me to this special place that not a lot of cars can really do well. But let me know what you think about this Carrera T. Is it the best driver's sports car, especially a Porsche 911? But we do, of course, need to thank everybody here at Porsche Clearwater, specifically Larry and the rest of the crew, getting us access to this GT Silver 911T. If you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Got to give it up to the Flood Man. That's what I call him, Stephen Flood. He brings a flood of photography skills to each and every job, whether it's a wedding, a bar mitzvah, circumcision, anything that's important in your life, Stephen Flood will be there. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you're doing. Just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.